Welcome to Courageous Conversation with Teresa W. Gamble, a cultural storytelling, gracious space to bridge generational gaps through active listening and action-oriented changes.
We are back in the museum with the amazing Adonnica Toler, taking us through a virtual backstage of this amazing exhibit from South Africa. The first two pieces are imaginable. I mean, you have to get a close up. So let's keep on this amazing journey and historical learning lesson today.
Okay. So just so I understand that you can see the beautiful exhibits just in a glance, and we'll be here all day if I talk to you about every one of them. So I'm just going to highlight some wonderful pieces and things that have drawn the attention of the community, and like every piece. But you can see it's all different forms. Clay, this is actually a wood piece that an artist has carved out, and it's very delicate because actually you have to be careful because actually one of the to see the wood from a tree stump and the intricate design on the other side. So it's just amazing the talent and gift of the artist. So we have sculpture, we have wood pieces, carvings, and paintings, and even this artist used corkboard. So if you're an artist out there and you don't know, if you don't have a canvas, find you a piece of wood and get to working.
Wow.
And you see how, again, here is someone, their play on Andy Warhol. You can see this, and who remembers macro growing up?
Oh, wow.
This artist did their play on Andy Warhol, and Andy Warhol did the Campbell Soup series.
Right.
So again, they were very paying attention, studying our culture, and understanding things that are significant in our community.
So wait a minute, they use, okay, because that's like the salmon macro in the can. So South Africans, they know we eat salmon over here. Wow, that's amazing.
And they did there. So it's very interesting how our cultures are the same, even though we're in another country. There may be different terminology for something, but definitely we are linked. We're still linked in culture and even in expression of things.
Wow.
So one of those pieces I would love to point this one out.
Okay.
This is Township Woman.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful mosaic, but this is all fabric. All these little tiny pieces that Kaya, and I've met Kaya, he's great. I've met him online. And these are little
Pieces of
mosaic fabric that he placed together.
Wow.
Look at the shadowing. So this is the level of talent. There's talented artists, and I would say this is a popular piece. These pieces are for sale and can be purchased. And this is one of the popular pieces. So I tell people, if you want this, you better act quickly.
Wow.
So there's really awesome. This artist used the cassette tape to make this piece.
Wow.
And the combination and music, even how music is important for us when you
Wait, so this is an actual cassette tape in the painting?
This is no, yeah, it is. It's actually a cassette tape.
Wow.
They embedded it into the piece, and this is the actual tape, and they use it to tell the story. And of course, in protest, music is a big part of protest.
Right.
Here what's the one we always say? We shall overcome, etc., etc.
Right.
So music and posters and imagery are part of movement. It's saying for them, and it's interesting that they put it together with this one was dealing with violence, and so early hip hop music here in America dealt with getting rid of violence, come together, and so they picked up on that.
Exactly, like with the movie about Compton.
Right.
With Ice Cube and them,
Yes.
when they would do the rap about the police and all
Right.
of that stuff.
Right. So
Yeah.
music, yes.
Gotcha.
So one of the other popular pieces, which is amazes us, and all of us who love it are like, why are we in love with a cow? And so this is a beautiful piece. This is called The Long Road, and by an artist named Gregory Kerr. I met Gregory as well online. And this is actually, this particular cow the male and female have horns. Because we were wondering, like, there's udder there. But this is actually a cow that they actually love and appreciate in the culture. But look at the beautiful colors. You know, when I talked to Gregory, I said, we love the cow. I said, so many people are drawn to this cow.
Wow.
Look at the beautiful landscape and the play of colors and mixture of colors. And when you look up close, you can really see like she is journeying home. I mean, you can see it in her eyes. So much talent that an artist can reflect a feeling from an animal. And that's the beauty of artwork. And even if you don't like the colors are magnificent. You were thinking of beautiful sunset or beautiful sunrise, but it's just amazing. And these cows are usually white or other colors, so just
But
changing
take
it
the tone.
for creating a license to give it another color, another feel, and that you actually want to pet it. It's just amazing. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So these are just some of the pieces here, and this is such an interesting piece, dealing with the like food and structure, and look at and even the detail of the little bee on the side.
Wow.
There's a bee.
So it's candy in
It's
here.
candies in here, and this is a very interesting piece here. There's so many exciting opportunities to see the work.
Wow.
And I love these. This is so sweet. It's almost like it's peaceful mother and father vision. It's almost in our neighborhood. The mother and the father of a neighborhood or the church. They may not necessarily be your mother or father, but it's mama, whoever, and the mother in the church. Our mothers in the neighborhood.
So your spiritual mother.
Your spiritual mother and father, just as well. And so they have that same representation and the representation of the church being important in our culture. But there's many people I call mother or miss because of just their due respect of their position.
So
as
they
elders.
exude that same practice in South Africa.
Honoring elders.
Wow.
So this is just some of them, and there's some other great pieces in the front we'll see momentarily. But it's just been amazing how the two sets of artists connected even before they actually met each other, just from the theme that we gave them. They ended up talking about the same stories, the same concepts about what life is for South Africans and what it's like for African Americans in America.
Wow. It's just amazing that you talk about the spiritual mother, the spiritual father. Being a preacher's daughter myself, this piece kind of really connect because it just shows that our ancestors, what we were born and reared from, so even though we're on two different continents, we have so much in commonality. And I think this international art exhibit really reflects, how close we are connected.
And that is actually the goal of the Sister Cities International and Jacksonville Sister Cities, is to show the connection that we have with others in other countries. So Jacksonville actually has 9 sister cities, and Nelson Mandela Bay Committee is one of them. And the goal is to perpetuate peace with others around the world. And the Nelson Mandela Bay Committee actually is one of the more active groups, but this is the first one to have an international flair. So everyone's attention is up like, what? I want to do that too. So yeah, I think I'm going to be a little busy. But it's great because African culture is everywhere. African influence is everywhere. We can go, how Barcelona and Spain in their design, that's more influence, the MOOR's influence. And just, Charlotte, North Carolina is named after Queen Charlotte, actually was black. Most people do not realize that. So African culture influence, black culture is worldwide. There isn't a culture that you're not going to come across that African influence has not touched that. Wow. I don't care where it is. You're gonna find one railway somewhere.
So with that being said, and with all the social unrest we're dealing with, and the battle right now, even trying to get voting rights passed, and because of the older, privileged legislators that we have in Congress, they are aware of the richness and the contributions we have made to this country. So this is why it's such a fight with this filibuster.
They are aware, because once we figure out the game, the rules of the game change. Because once we get in and we make it better than what it was, then there has to be something done to stop us. And if you study the culture, you will see they always go after economics first.
Right.
And so they always attack the economics. But we still come back. But it is an issue, and it's when you've decided that you are better than someone, or someone is not as good as you because of what they look like, or where they live, or if they're a woman, or man, or whatever, when you use those things against people to make yourself feel better, that's the situation that we're in. And then when you make it law, every law is not, it's a law and it's legal, but it's not moral. So we have to make sure we create laws that are legal and moral.
And that's the battle
that is the battle that we're in.
That's going on in Congress right now. So with that being said, knowing all of this, because the younger generation, they feel like we need to react and we need to respond sooner, that a sense of urgency needs to take place. So with what you know in history, what we even experienced right here in Jacksonville, Florida, how can we or help this generation? We talking about the Gen X, the Gen X's, the Gen Zs, the Gen Ys. How can we galvanize with the tools and resources and digital exposure we have to move the needle?
First of all, we have to recognize that all groups are an asset and are important for the battle. So the millennial can't say, oh, she's too old, that's that old stuff. There is some value, because what my mother, our mother generation did got us here.
Right.
So now you need to at least understand that, and then take that energy, and then those of us who are older, the ones who want to run on and start swinging, let's be their backbone, but guide them to help them understand in wisdom, but not tell them, not stop them, but make sure we're guiding them and teaching them how to move with wisdom and move swiftly and with stealth. So all groups have to understand there is a value in having a mother, a mother so-and-so. Now, she's not going to go out there and back, but if she said, baby, you need to do this and do that, listen to her, and then twist it into your way, but you're still doing what she said, but you're doing it, expressing it in your way, your energy, to make the battle. Because all levels are needed to bring in the victory, to make the change.
Exactly. So that means don't pick up no gun and shoot first. You need to get some knowledge and understanding where your parents was, where your grandparents was, what fights they had to encounter. And if they wouldn't have met the fight, we wouldn't have the partners we have.
Right.
In other words, saying pick and choose your battles carefully.
Right.
My philosophy, this is Teresa Taylor. If the battle was not intended for you, it wouldn't have came to you.
Exactly.
That battle came to you because evidently you had the wherewithal, you have the tenacity, the tact to be able to not only confront it, but change the game for the generations behind you. That's why legacy is so important for me in this season, in my year of the 50s.
And you made a great point. Sometimes you are fighting a battle that's not your battle.
Yes.
And that's a problem also. So where do you fit in the story? Mm-hmm. If you find out, because there are people, they're not going to go out and just wave the gun or march, but they understand strategy, or they understand how to work with people and how to train. So we have to find where people are. So just because someone is not up marching with you doesn't mean they're not part of it, but they may know how to go and talk to somebody that you can't talk to and get it done, and it looks like they're not doing anything. And what I found out, the most powerful people are the ones you don't think doing anything.
Exactly. Now you said a mouthful there because that's called access, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Look, I even take it to biblical terms. Remember when Jesus was crucified and the rich man had to negotiate to use his tomb for Jesus to be buried? That man had a relationship with the government
to do that.
So could the disciples go ask the government for that? You have to have those people who have access, and that's why a lot of times people get misconstrued with me. I have more access than they know.
Right.
Because of the relationships. Right. There we go. Right. Relationships with this project that we are building with through art, are building for our grandchildren, our children's children. So Adonnica role is very important on this radio show, and I did that intentionally because we are used to letting others tell our story and our journey. When we have our own stories of our own that our children, their children need to hear that back then we couldn't just up and do this. And back then we had to diversify and redirect funds to make sure that you as the child of the seed or the offspring don't have to go through these challenges we went through. But this generation don't understand that. They feel like, okay, well, why are you struggling now? You should be retiring and enjoying life. I'm like, let me go back and let you know what was invested to make sure you have the opportunities you have. So Adonnica with that, these are some beautiful pieces for South Africa. If you're in the Jacksonville area or nearby, I encourage you, bring your church, make it a field trip. Come during the week. I don't know about Sundays, so you have to talk to Adonnica about that. But this would be a great Sunday school lesson. This would be a great historical lesson because this younger generation needs to understand that we are not poor people. We are not just known to be slaves. Slaves was just the foundation. We were brought over here. So that's why I love the fact the Nelson Mandela exhibit is here because that's our motherland, that's our country, where every African American has come from. So I'm gonna be quiet. So come on, let's keep going with the tour, everybody.
Okay. So now this section of the museum, these are art pieces from the artists who actually went to South Africa. These are not the pieces. Actually, some of them have been purchased, so they're not even. They're with their patron now. But these, I asked the artists to give me a piece so that they can be represented. There are plans for, hopefully, without if the pandemic slows down, we will actually be able to meet some of the artists from South Africa. So I wanted them to see the other styles of work from the artists that they've already admired and the work they've done.
Wow.
And these are just 20. These are overall, I've been really blessed because when you growing up and they talked about art, they rarely showed a black artist. If they did, they mentioned Huey O. Tanner, but they still did not really teach about African American artists and African artists. So to know one black artist, like I know, I get excited about that. But these are 20. I know 100. We have about 100 black artists here in Jacksonville.
Wait. You say it's 20 artists artwork that's being displayed right now,
here,
but it's over 100 black
that
artists
live here in Jacksonville or have a connection to Jacksonville.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
all right, listeners and viewers, I'm gonna challenge you. Find how many black artists are in your community and support them, and put the black art up in your home so your children will be aware that we have culture.
I think I have about 30 pieces.
Wait, you
personally,
yes. 30 pieces of
I need bigger space, I get more, because they're always producing something that I want.
Oh, wow.
And you can, and some of these artists, I'm going to tell you, their pieces are in the thousands, and they should be. And so I want you to get in your mindset that you're going to invest in the artist. I do have a piece that's $3,000 and over $3,000, so that's the most expensive I think I have. But you can also support an artist if they do jewelry, if they do a print, or you can support them, or just show up to the art show. Exactly. Sometimes for them, they say if they just show up, it doesn't cost much, but These artists, and several of them, actually, all they do is their art. They don't have another job.
So
They
they're
make a business.
full-time.
They're full-time artists, and that's wonderful for any artist, but for African American artists, that is wonderful.
Wow.
And there are artists who, there is an artist in the country, I know, she sold a piece, well, 1.5 million.
What?
So it's there, and their work is, so stop telling your children they're not gonna make any money.
Being an artist. Thank
Because
you.
there is an artist here who has a family, 3 children, and he's busy all the time.
Wow.
He's hired to do murals, he's hired to do commission pieces, and his artwork is purchased all the time. So stop telling your children that they're going to be poor and struggling. These artists are not poor and struggling. Some of them do teach because they love teaching. Some of them are because they do need it for a little bills, but most of them are doing it because it's the love of it, and they want to pass on. They want to teach. They want to mentor the next generation so that they can enjoy their artwork. But most of these artists, I'm telling you, they are running their own business. They are their own boss, and they get to pick and choose what project they do. So I'm speaking, and we have 85, I think our oldest person is 85 years old.
Wow.
So age is not an issue. Don't use that as an excuse. I think we have an 85-year-old, he might be 86 now. And
Where is his piece?
Now his pieces are right here. This is Pablo Rivera. Now this is one style of his work. He's recently started doing watercolor. These are watercolor.
Oh, wow.
But Pablo also does sculpture.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I first met. He started doing sculpture. He has ventured out to doing watercolor.
Awesome.
And this is amazing.
Yes, it is.
This is amazing. And this is, see, the green dot means it's purchased.
Oh, wow.
And I know there's other negotiations going on. So the green dot means it has been purchased.
Wow.
So it is exciting. And I'm excited about this because my sister-in-law bought it.
Wow.
So when she saw it, she was like, oh, how do I said, there's the artist. You know him? I said, yes. So
Wow.
it's, so I would, please take the time wherever you are and seek out the art culture. You don't only have to buy African American artists. There's some wonderful artists, but art is so important. It does several things. It gives you a place of solace, I think. Sometimes when you see that piece that you like, there's something that you're drawn to that piece. For some people, it's a calming thing. It's just exciting that, hey, there's something about this picture that, and I just get so calm. And I've had people say that they're so calm, and because they saw a particular piece. And art also is a great way to deal with issues in the community and society that people don't want to address directly. So the artist puts a little theme in there, or some of these artists is straight out blunt with it,
Right.
and some of the things is subtle. So you'll see some things, it's right in your face,
Mhm.
and other things, it's several stories, it's several backstories going on within the piece. And then there's some pieces, they don't even look like they're talking to you about anything until you really, really look at it. I would say this large piece by Overstreet DeCoste here in the back, like it looks so architectural and strict and streamlined. But as you get closer into it, you'll see these subtle stories within it. But it's a beautiful piece.
Mhm.
And Overstreet DeCoste is one of the prominent artists here in Jacksonville, and he is known all over the world, especially he went to South Africa, but also his work has been shown in London, and he is by far many times. Overstreet has been elected, I think it was 3 years in a row, the top artist in Jacksonville. There's a little contest, and
Oh,
he gets
wow.
one time he was or he was second place or whatever. He's a very popular artist. This is one of his styles, but this is a beautiful piece, and I've had several people who want the piece. This is thousands of dollars, so if you want it, you're not gonna get this $400. Get that out your mind. this is gonna cost you. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece, and
It's made out of wood.
it's made out of wood. It's
Wow.
well built. This thing is heavy. I'm telling you, he didn't just throw this together. It is heavy. It's well built. And then there's stories within. And if you know Overstreet's work, he always has a soldier in there somewhere. So you have to see at first. You have to know his style. You're gonna find a soldier. He does grommets a lot. Somewhere you're gonna find a grommet, a soldier, and any other one of his little special little stories, and you'll know it's him. But I looked at this overall and I knew it was him without even just because of his work. Yeah.
Interesting.
And look at this interesting piece. This is a chalkboard, an old chalkboard
In the classroom.
from the classroom. You can see even that it was on the wall. See the screws?
Wow.
And this artist used it. This is Adrian Rhodes. We affectionately call him Dree. And you can see how he used this chalkboard to tell this story. And look, it's paint, and he collaged it with the newspaper articles. And look at how, so this is what is a collage because of the different types. It's a mixed media piece. And this is all the different ways, the different things he used to tell this story.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful piece.
Wow.
And so I hope this inspires those of you who are artists and you're not being encouraged because it doesn't fit. All of these artists have their own style, their own look. Many of them, I own their pieces, and I'm really proud of that, and really proud that I've had an opportunity to help them with their careers, which, you know, I didn't start out with that, but just having to work here, having that experience. The first time Overstreet, the cost ever showed artwork in Jacksonville, it was right here. with me.
Wow, amazing.
Suzanne Pickett on the end, same thing. The first time she ever showed her artwork in Jacksonville was right here in the Ritz. And so there are several artists who are now and all of them are very popular and doing some really amazing things in the art world and the culture world.
Thank you for listening to Courageous Conversation with Teresa W. Gamble, bridging generational gaps through active listening and action-oriented changes.